Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Yesshift. This time it's Steven's Venue Adventures segment. I'm Steven Schinder, and this is I'm going to be reviewing the David Gilmour show that I attended this past Friday. So, David Gilmour, a guitarist known for his work with Pink Floyd, and he actually just recently released a solo album titled Luck and Strange. And interestingly, his wife Polly Sampson wrote much of the lyrics on this album. I think there's just a couple exceptions because two of the tracks are instrumentals, and one is a co-write with her, and another is um, a Roger Quigley lyric credit. So, very interesting stuff. It's been such a busy week that I ended up not listening to the album until just a couple hours before the show or heading out to see the show. Um, so I'll go ahead and show the cover in just a moment. So screen share there, and I also have other photos I'm gonna try to show if technology is kind to me today. Let's see. So we got there's the album cover. Uh, yeah, you got the silhouette and the waterfall. It's a really neat cover there. And yeah, I was listening to it shortly before the show or heading out to see the show, and it's a pretty good album. There was a point where I got to because I was listening to this on the official David Gilmour YouTube thing, and it was organized in a playlist. And when I got to the final track, it was 15 minutes, and um, the notes felt like the same over and over to me. So I was like, huh, this feels kind of repetitive. But then I later realized, oh, this is one of the bonus tracks, Luck and Strange Barn Jam version, I think it is. So yeah, the actual like main album, I guess you could say, is made up of 9 tracks, and they are all pretty good. They're like I said, there are two instrumentals, Black Cat and Vita Brevis. Um, and this is, I believe, yeah, it's been a while since David Gilmour's previous studio album. That one was Rattle That Lock, which came out in 2015. And I'll get into the set list spoilers a bit later. I think the way I'm going to organize this is, first I'm going to talk a little bit about my Pink Floyd fandom, and then talk about the venue, the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. That's where I saw the show. And also talk about the set list balance, and then I think I'll go into the set list spoilers. So, Pink Floyd, Dad has told me that when I was a baby, 1994, that, or yeah, I was born November 1994. I guess the Division Bell came out several months before that. So I don't know if this will have happened maybe going into 1995. Dad says that he used to take me on these drives and play the Division Bell, and I would be really calm. I vaguely remember him telling me about that and how it was raining, but the music was just so soothing. And I didn't become a fan until much later. The earliest memory I have of listening to Pink Floyd was hearing the song Breathe and something that I watched in maybe early 2006, but it wasn't until late 2008 that I started exploring their discography, because that was a time when I was getting into other prog rock bands outside of Yes. I've told the story of how I was a Yes fan since I was very little, and then 2007, Dad gave me an Asia DVD live in Tokyo, and that was a nice gateway into the other things because I had a couple Yes members. And so late 2008, I was checking out stuff featuring those members of the original Asia lineup, King Crimson, ELP. I would go on to listen to the Buggles, and I would like seek out these other prog rock things, even if they didn't involve Yes. So Pink Floyd was on that list, and I went through their discography in chronological order from two. This was from 2008 to 2009, so I got really into the music. And Dark Side of the Moon, I'm wearing the shirt. Is my favorite album of theirs. I know to some that might sound like such a casual listener answer, but having been through the ins and outs of the Pink Floyd albums, like giving each album my full attention, I honestly think Dark Side of the Moon is my absolute favorite. So go ahead and comment if you have a favorite Pink Floyd album. And then 2014 was when The Endless River came out, which, if I remember correctly, had archival music that was recorded with Richard Wright, so they were able to put his keys on that. It was Nick Mason and David Gilmour. And since then, there have been separate tours with the former members. People talk about wanting reunions of these bands, and I think there was a one off or two, but um, yeah, but like the whole thing is, it's a long story, and so there's not going to be a reunion, but each member kind of went on and did their separate things. Waters had his whole The Wall thing. Nick Mason has a saucer full of secrets. That's what he calls his performance, and David Gilmour has his solo tour, the Luck and Strange tour. That's the album that he just put out, Luck and Strange. I would not have been able to see Nick Mason perform in San Diego 2 years ago because of the Yes show that I went to that was on the same night. So there's kind of a funny little history here. Like I went to see a Yes show that night, and shortly before I found out that there was also a Nick Mason show that night. But I was going to the Yes show with a couple other people, so um, if Nick Mason's band ever comes nearby, where like somewhere here in SoCal, then I would try to see if I can make it, but that time I wasn't able to. And then a couple months ago in August, the Australian Pink Floyd tribute show, I think it's called, was is like had their show at the Orpheum here in Los Angeles, but I could not go to that because that was the same week that I was going to Arizona to visit my dad and see John Anderson, and that was an incredible show too. Um, but yeah, now I finally got to see David Gilmour, and funny enough, it was on John Anderson's birthday, like that night. Um, it's funny how that worked out. I had seen that there were a couple Hollywood Bowl shows, but those are sold out. And then I saw the listing for the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, and I thought, oh, that's actually closer to me. That's more convenient. And I've been to the Hollywood Bowl before, so this would be a new venue for me. Yeah, I believe that basketball games tend to be held here. That's what it seemed like. But they, organize things to be concert ready. Um, but yeah, just that whole, I was thinking about this, how people want bands to have reunions regardless of how complicated it is between the members. And, there's a lot of stuff that I'm not going to go into, um, but there's also the opportunity of like multiple members from different bands being able to play the music from the original band and try to do it in their own configuration and their own set list. And I think that can potentially be a win-win for people. You don't get just the one band, you get these multiple branches from the band. But the David Gilmour set list, I would say it was maybe 50% Pink Floyd and 50% solo stuff. He showcased the entire album plus a couple of tracks from his previous solo album, which I mentioned earlier. The Intuit Dome is it's an interesting venue, a quite different procedure. I had to download the Intuit Dome app and set up a profile. They have this thing called Game Face ID, which is where you take a selfie and you also put in some info. And when you go to the venue, they have these things that, uh, like, if it these this technology where once it sees your face, it puts a name to the face, like it has a name written on the screen. So when I walked in the line at the Intuit Dome, one of the people working there looked at me and was like, Steven? And I was like, whoa, like this, it's weird because it's kind of convenient in that you can go get food and drinks from like the stand and the store that's like inside of the place. I actually got this souvenir cup. Oh, let me see if I can grab it real quick. Yeah, I got this Intuit Dome souvenir cup, which um, so I could get refills of soda and whatnot over there, the fountain drinks. So yeah, it was very convenient, but it's also pretty scary that the technology is at a point where it can do this. So I'm sure people have really mixed feelings about that, and it really does make one think. But yeah, so I guess maybe to some Pink Floyd fans that might bring Welcome to the Machine to mind or something. I don't know. But the the place where I sat, it was on one of the terrace levels. So walking from the hallway and then into the terrace level, it was, if you're afraid of heights, this might be kind of scary. It's like you're almost like you're looking down if you're going down the stairs with the even with the railing. But um, yeah, like the overall scale of this reminded me of when I saw Peter Gabriel at the Kia Forum last year. And if I remember correctly, I think Peter Gabriel only played his solo works because he's long past Genesis. And so it was a real treat seeing almost all of, if not the whole, of his new album. I'd have to go back and double check my review or the set list or whatever, but seeing so much of the new stuff showcased and going into this concert, this David Gilmour concert, I had not looked up what to expect from the set list. I sort of thought to myself, I do love Pink Floyd music, but I'm going in with a mindset that maybe he won't play any Pink Floyd or might just be a little bit, which in retrospect is kind of silly for me to think because Pink Floyd has, that music has made so much money and gotten so much recognition that why wouldn't he play a huge chunk of Pink Floyd stuff? But yeah, I was going in with an open mind of it could be mostly solo stuff, but it was a really good balance, like half David Gilmour stuff and half Pink Floyd stuff. And the lighting, throughout the show, I was noticing, and I'll try to show pictures and whatnot. Um, the lighting of, the colors of the lights and the smoke and how it's choreographed. There's an art to that. I think we sometimes take it for granted or think it's just a surface level thing, but here it felt like they really thought it out, and there are like these laser light looking things, and they'd surround the stage and also be protruding outward into the dome, and it really is an art form. The stage light and smoke choreography. It's mixed media, and there was even this circular screen behind the band that would show live action footage and sometimes also animation. So it's a reminder that concerts can be a mixed media art performance. You got the music, but you also got the visual stuff, and I think that really falls in line with what people think of when they think of the legacy of Pink Floyd. So the first set began with a couple instrumentals. So those would be 5 a.m. and Black Cat. And then you got Luck and Strange, the title track of a solo album. You know, it's a really strong opener. And then after that, you get the familiarity with Speak to Me, Breathe, you know, from Dark Side of the Moon. And there was a part of me that wondered, like, are they going to try to play the whole album, you know, Dark Side of the Moon? And they did not, but, you know, as much as I love the album and as cool as it would be to see the whole album live from start to finish, I am glad that it was just selections from Dark Side of the Moon so that all this other stuff that I am not as familiar with could be showcased. So after Breathe, you know, some people might expect On the Run, but it went into Time, which is another strong track. Um, and I see that on Setlist FM. It lists as a Breathe reprise. I don't quite remember that. But in any case, Fat Old Sun, which was from the Adam Hart Mother album, I believe, that got played. And then that was followed by Marooned, and then a single Spark, which I think was also from the Luck and Strange album. Yeah, it is. Then a performance of Wish You Were Here. And, you know, at this show, it, you know, there's a great job giving kudos to the other musicians who were there, you know, giving credit to the ladies who were singing backup, and David Gilmour's daughter Romany was also there, and um, you know, took like center stage for this next bit. You know, they played Vita Brevis and Between Two Points, and she's a great singer. And I think David, if I remember correctly, also had this what's it called? It's called like a lap pedal steel, right? The one where it's like horizontal, looks kind of like an ironing board. Um, but yeah, this was really cool. Like being able to showcase um, the experienced and also the younger, um, you know, up and coming. You know, you get the both sides of that coin, and I think that's really great when you have these legacy performances that can also introduce audiences from across the age spectrum to these newer people. So I thought that was a great aspect of this. And then the first part, so set one ended with High Hopes. And then after that was a break. And uh, for the second set, let me just look at this real quick. The second set began with Sorrow. So again, another Pink Floyd classic. And then The Piper's Call. So that's another one from the new album. Followed by A Great Day for Freedom from The Wall. And then In Any Tongue, which I think was from not the new solo album, but the previous one. And this was accompanied by animation of soldiers. And so, you know, once again, I'm sitting there thinking about how war is still unfortunately very prevalent, and, you know, people should be allowed to coexist and find more peaceful solutions with one another. And then this next one was a bit of a surprise. You know, they played The Great Gig in the Sky, and the vocals were just phenomenal. Really great stuff there. And then, oh, and throughout the concert, there was someone a few rows behind me who kept shouting, "We love you, David!" Like, and I kept thinking to myself, isn't this guy's vocal cords getting kind of tired? And, you know, I'm sure David Gilmour knows that people love him, but by that same token, you know, very nice of that guy to show that love, I guess. Um, but yeah, people were very into this show. Like, people are, you know, I was like moving back and forth, you know, bobbing my head, and other people were as well. and some of us were singing along to the songs that we knew. It's really great stuff. Then there's A Boat Lies Waiting, which uh, is also from that previous solo album, Rattle That Lock. Um, yeah, I had to look that up. And then Coming Back to Life, which David, dedicates to his wife. And it's such a beautiful song. One of my favorite all time Pink Floyd songs. I remember back in 2009, or maybe it was 2010, I commented in some thread that I really like the Division Bell songs Take It Back and Coming Back to Life. I think I might have even said that those are a couple of my favorite Pink Floyd songs. And there was someone who replied to the comment who was like, really? All of Pink Floyd's discography, you choose these? And it's such a gatekeepy thing. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, I did kind of wonder to myself if he might play that song or take it back. And I played Coming Back to Life. And it was just such a moment, such a moment of, taking in the beauty of this music. And then he played dark they played, I should say, since it's a whole band and all of them contributed so well to all of this. Played Dark and Velvet Nights, Sings, and Scattered, which are the final three tracks on the solo album. And hearing these live made me appreciate the album uh, a bit more, which, I mean, I know it's a silly thing to say, but to be fair, while I was listening to the album earlier that day, I was working on some other things, and so I had it on and was trying to take it in, but I also had these other things and these deadlines I had to take care of. So hearing them live at a point where I don't need to worry about working on stuff really gave that chance to really take them in. And it makes me want to revisit the album. I've heard people talking about the album and what they think of it, so I think it's something I'm definitely gonna revisit more in light of this concert. And for the encore, they played "Comfortably Numb" because another Pink Floyd classic staple. So yeah, this was such an amazing show, and yeah, I'll go ahead and show the pictures now. One sec. Um, yeah, I was cycling through these pictures earlier, kind of trying to do a test. So there was a moment the where going through them, it kind of gets stuck for a bit. So I'll see if I can get through all of them if possible. Let's see. So I'll click this one. And this will also kind of give you an idea of the venue. Because again, this is Steven's venue adventures. So, All right, so go ahead and share screen. Make sure I get the correct window. Okay, here it is. Um, yeah, it's gotta move it. Okay, so these two hands are like on the outside of the venue, and they kind of reminded me of an episode of Community that had to do with the giant hands. Um, and apparently this show was sold out, so there's that poster. David Gilmour, Luck and Strange, sold out tonight at the Intuit Dome. And then I think this was while I was on the escalator or something. I looked up and saw these orb booking things and like the blue lights. Oh, when I was coming into the venue, I was worried because I was running a little late, but the show started a little late anyway, like maybe 20 or 30 minutes late. But as I was coming in, they play music over the thing, and I heard the Genesis song "No Son of Mine." So yeah, I guess they definitely know their audience, the prog fans. Um, and this is how the uh, dome looked before the band went on stage. I know it's like kind of shaky and blurry there. I kind of took a quick pic there. And yeah, the quality of some of my photos aren't that great, especially when zoomed in, but I think you get the idea of how the lighting can look. You get those red spotlights there. Oh, this one looks a bit better. Or I guess I should move my arrow a bit. Um, but yeah, you got the sorry, going fast. You got the smoke there, and it looks red. Um, and then going to blue. So this is amazing stuff. Oh, this the screen showed these clocks during time. You know, this animation. I'm trying to remember if this is the exact thing that they played on screen during the Division Bell tour. You know, I've seen the concert film Pulse. I remember Dad and I watched that a while back when I visited him. Maybe like 2010 or 2009 or something. Uh, and yeah, where I was sitting, there was this big speaker thing that was a little bit in the way. Um, Sorry, I'm just zooming out a little bit. Um, okay, I'm just gonna leave it like that, I guess. Yeah, there's this speaker thing that was kind of intrusive, you know, blocking out the left part of the screen from my point of view. But I don't know if there's a way that, if there's anything that they can do to remedy that, or if it's just, you know, that's how it is. But it was still a great show regardless. And I could see enough of the screen, and I could see the band on the stage anyway. Um, see. And there's another one, different color, you know, green to red. I think that's Rome. I think that's his daughter on the screen there. Yeah. Um, they got the wheat fields on the screen. Oh, this was when they put the threw the balloons into the crowd, and there's also a disco ball. I believe that's that there. There definitely was a disco ball. I'm just not sure if that is for sure it. Um, okay, so I think this is where the photos get stuck for me. So I might have to share these like one at a time or something. Just give me a moment and I'll be able to do that. But yeah, if you saw the show, if you've seen David Gilmour perform live before, go ahead and chime in, share your experiences. Um, okay, so I showed that one. Yeah, I'm just looking at these photos on my end. Yeah, because I got at least a dozen more, I think. Okay, I'm going to try showing these. And they might be potentially be out of order in terms of when they were shot, but they still give you a great visual representation of what to expect from this type of show. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. All right, so at some point during the show, we got these green lasers, and I mean, laser Floyd is a thing, you know, a staple, I guess. So, oh, I like this effect that they did where the lights and the smoke make it look like some sort of aquarium tank. You got these pink lasers. Yeah, I think this might be the best shot that I got. I mean, these other ones look pretty good, but I think because, yeah, oh yeah, that's definitely a disco ball there. Maybe it's because I took this one horizontal is why I like it the most. You know, Dad is always saying whenever you record stuff, do it horizontal. But you know, and this is applying just to photos in this instance. But you also got these animations. I forget which song this was during, so I guess this will be for some of you if you're able to make it to a David Gilmour show to go and find out for yourselves. I got the ladies singing there. There's his daughter, and there's David. Yeah, I know this one is kind of hard to make out with the faces being a little blurry, zoomed in like that. Oh, there's me. Um, the balloons again. And I think that's pretty much all of them. Let me just double check on my end. Because, yeah, I think that very well could be all of them. But yeah, I was highly satisfied with this show. I'm glad I was able to make it. You know, we have a lot of stuff going on work wise this past week, and of course we have more stuff going on. So this was a nice little break in between things, and to be able to experience Pink Floyd music in the live setting, no matter the configuration, um, they did justice to the music and also did a strong showcase of David Gilmour's new album, Lookin' Strange. So I definitely need to go back and listen to his other solo stuff. A dad told me I should check out his first solo album, but I just ran out of time and didn't manage to fit it in between things. But it's definitely on my list. And yeah, this is a real treat. Would highly recommend. And again, if Nick Mason's band ever comes near me anytime soon in the near future, I'll definitely see if I can try to make it to that and maybe compare and contrast. Um, I think I've heard that the set is kind of different, like in terms of the Pink Floyd aspects of the set. But yeah, I think that would be a treat too. And occasionally I hear about Pink Floyd tribute stuff, so I guess I'll have to look into some of that as well, see if there's any of that going on in the future. But awesome to experience this legendary music, and um, yeah, leaving the venue, if there's a lot of traffic, like lots of people. There were even some people offering rides, which I'd never seen after a show before. So I wonder if that's due to the popularity of this particular show. Maybe they saw that it's gonna be sold out and that's so many people, or maybe it's just something like in this particular area, or I don't know. It was really weird, but yeah, I'm kind of wary, and be cautious. Make sure that things are safe and trustworthy and all that. Um, but yeah, again, this is a great show, and thanks for tuning in to my thoughts on it. Um, you can follow Yesshift on Facebook and YouTube, and also so, sorry, I'm trying to remember. Search Yes Shift on podcast apps, and you might find us. And also go to, you can write to us at yesshiftpodcast@gmail.com. And check out Drum Talk TV. We actually recently had a Q&A with Nigel Glockler of Saxon, and there's another one coming up in mid-November with Rudy Sarzo, and all sorts of fun online games there as well. So yeah, follow Drum Talk TV and check out Drum Talk TV Brilliance and see what's coming up on our event calendar. All right, so thanks for tuning in, and I'll have to see when exactly we'll be back. I'm sure something will come up, but yeah, thanks for tuning in, and see you all soon.